Hello everyone, I'm Sujay. I'm from the Manhattan Project, and this is the general idea or just a quick demo video for my submission for AI Verse Hackathon. So, we are part of the Agentic AI track, and the problem statement given to us was develop a career development system, which we did actually. So as of now, only about 20 to 30% of the whole implementation is done, and everything is properly documented in a README file, which can be found in our public GitHub repository, AIVerse Hack 01. Everything is perfectly documented according to my belief inside there. So let me just guide you towards how this project is going to work actually. So when you when you encounter a generic career development tool, what they do is they just get your resume, they just pass it, and say if your resume has some skills such as, say, Python, then it will just convert it into a binary flag. What we do in our system is we get a user input, say it as a resume or GitHub. Then what we do is we just take those skills and we just map a confidence based system to it. So, for example, if I encounter Python, I'll just map Python to a confidence state of zero point 0.5. And then I'll use support signals such as GitHub repositories, LinkedIn uploads, and these things. Suppose, say, I have a user and he uploaded his Git URL profile. So I'll just fetch his public repositories which he uploaded. Then I'll find what languages has he actually implemented in his projects. So if he actually has implemented Python or not, or what areas of Python has he implemented. For example, Python can be used for a variety of purposes such as data science or just even front end, full stack deployment. So then I can identify which part he has actually implemented. So in that way, I can either increase or reduce the confidence based system. So this is one of the ways we actually do this. And then we do something called experiments or hypothesis. We take those skills and we see market demands, market job opportunities, hackathons, some things, and we create our own experiments. We'll apply for those experiments in a local environment and see if that works. If he gets selected, we'll increase the confidence score. If he gets not selected, rejected, then we'll decrease the confidence score, and we'll see where actually he got, where was his disadvantage or where did he lag for that. And we'll provide resources such as roadmaps, youtube videos, which actually compensate for the lag. So to actually implement this, we provide them with two modes. One is hypothesis guided and another is constrained development. So there will be just generally two cases where the user actually knows where he need to develop himself. So in that case, he can go with mode B, constrained development, where he can actually declare a goal, such as I want a ML internship or a backend engineer role. So then our system will analyze his resume, see where he lags and where he succeeds, and then our system provides a comprehensive plan for him. Everything will be tested in our belief states, experiments throughout, and it will constantly be tested against the different scenarios and it will provide a final output. And the next thing is hypothesis guided development. Say he does not know where he want to develop his skills. So in that way, what we do is, again, with our given data, we'll analyze where he is lacking and provide the skills which he actually need to develop. So for example, let us say he is building some app in which he has only used Python and TypeScript, but he is lacking in React, but he has included that in his resume. So then we need to address that gap. To address that gap, we'll provide him resources for React, and we'll suggest in which areas he need to improve. Those are the main two objectives our system based, our model targets upon. And our system also targets upon rejections, which is one of the key important factors, and also ghosting. If he apply for a job and he does not get any reply, that is also considered a valid feedback. And this is the tech stack which is implemented here: LangChain and LangGraph for agentic AI development, Supabase, Postgres for database management. And yeah, because we're using agentic tools, we need a vector DB. And for that vector DB, we're using Supabase. And for scrapings, we're using DDGS and Py2PDF and all other tools. Frontend is mostly done in TypeScript and React combined together. And Login is done using GitHub authentication. Now, if we see to the multi-agent approach, these are the five main agents which involve in this. Intake and evidence agent, as I said, it takes in the user input, parses it, and builds the belief state. Carry reasoning agent, it takes in the data provided by intake and evidence agent, and it compares it towards the market data, providing a sense of realism, and then it provides that comparison towards the hypothesis and planner agent. Planner agent, what it does, it decides the next best trajectory. An action agent, it applies, locally applies to all other possible jobs. And reflection learning agent takes in the positives and negatives of all other four agents combined. Of course, we have more other agents which are just minor agents which act on the background. Everything is mentioned in the PPT. And this for this we host the front end in Versal and back end in Render. I think it is in deployment right now. So we can just open up the site. It will be in deployment most of the time, apart from the time which I'm debugging it. So the site just goes on by. I'll just open a new tab right here in Chrome. I'll just open aivers.versal.app. So basically, it starts and essentially I given just a GitHub auth login because GitHub basically manages the login and user states. If I just hit that, I'll directly authenticate with GitHub sites. So as of now, debug purposes, I'll just go to the debug page. And also, we provide something like a chatbot, but not a proper chatbot. This is not a general chatbot. This is a guide bot. What this guide bot does is it takes the data of the user and it sort of performs something like a RAG. It's not a fully functional RAG, but a sort of RAG with LLM creativity. So you can basically ask everything which your passport, what passport here means is the user data. So what the user data already contains, for example, is the Python skills which I have good enough for applying for Google or Microsoft or something like that, or some startups or something. And that will give you an essential clear answer which is entirely based on user data. And this is how I don't have any data uploaded, so I won't get any experiments or logs clearly written right now because this is just debug login and only a very less percentage of development is done. So these are just the backbones of what our project will actually become. And yeah, these are just the experiment log which we can do. And that is just the main idea behind our project. Everything is properly documented in readme files which are present in our public repo, and also it is there in our ppt which is also uploaded. And that is just the quick demo on how our project will work and the direction which we are heading to. And hopefully some good things happen. Thank you.